one of the things that I learned recently is that doing vectorized text in game engines is extremely difficult, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And so vectors in general are like really complicated to actually do in a game engine. And I was kind of racking my brain around how I'm going to be doing some.
Sorry, YouTube chat has adopted your uwu, and they're doing the eyes.
Oh, I
with
gotta
the W.
see that. Rare win for YouTube chat.
Watching all of the chats is particularly
I gotta get
enjoyable.
these open. This is sick. I will not give you $250. Yeah, please.
Yeah, no.
It says the stream's finished. Like, is it? No, there we go.
Yeah.
Don't scare me like that. Yeah, thanks, YouTube chat. That's horrible. I hate this. Oh, there's Target Eyes one. Oh, the Target Eyes one is good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that's
with the lips.
Oh, boy. Okay, sorry. Continue.
I don't know. This is also good.
This is literally my screen right now. It's just all the chats.
Do you want to show it up?
Sure, yeah.
If you don't have anything for...
What is that?
Oh, that's the log.
Does that go to them?
No, that's what we can see.
Okay. I was like, hide it.
No, that's my command window. That's my external ping to make sure that no frames are dropping.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Oh my God. Anyway, so Unreal Engine 5.4 has officially come out. It's been in preview for a little while now. And they have all of these new systems. They've got this like motion combining for animations, this state-based thing that's really, really robust and simple to use. They've got a whole bunch of new animation tools. But the coolest thing is the like motion graphics design stuff. I don't know if you've seen any of this.
No, I just saw that it like was happening.
Actually bonkers. Like I was like, I got a little flustered. It was like incredible. So basically you've got Niagara particle simulations. You've got, the new Lumen engine, right? So you can have unlimited polygons and then real-time particle simulations, real-time physical simulations, laser scans. And now they've introduced vector graphics as well as Boolean operations, layers like in Photoshop. They have a new texture designer like Substance 3D, Substance Material Editors, that sort of thing. You can now do that entirely in Unreal Engine. And it's all real time. So if you're doing 3D modeling or like motion graphics or stuff like that, normally you do Cinema 4D or Blender or something like that. But now you can do that in real time with real-time lighting. And it's also all programmable because it's still a game engine, right? So you can use blueprints and do your vector animations and everything like that. So basically, this is incredible for so many things. It's good for me.
I was going to say, what are you going to use it for?
So I wanted to use it for an intro video as well as having some scalable UI elements. One thing that I was finding that were particularly difficult inside Unreal Engine was being able to adapt to different screen sizes.
Okay, so Philip, chat, relax. At this point, you guys are taking the spamming more seriously than the uwu. You guys got to chill. I think some of you even have like bots running or auto clickers or auto input things or something. Relax a little bit.
Damn.
At this point, I literally can't even read it because it's going so
faster
fast.
than YouTube chat.
Significantly, yeah. Chill, dudes. Chill.
It's getting faster. You're not helping.
Maybe not. Okay, I will stop addressing it. Maybe it will go away. Anyways, yeah, so you want to use it for an intro video?
Yeah, so you ever seen HAL 9000, 2001: A Space Odyssey, that sort of thing? A lot of those computer graphics that were on the screens themselves physically are very much like blank color plus lines, and they're all beautiful grids, and they look futuristic, and it's all blocky text, right? And that kind of theme was also repeated in Alien and Aliens and that sort of like 80s level kind of CRT technology, but a vision of the future. And a lot of it is extremely thin single lines. And if I want to have this be adaptable to different screen sizes, one thing that I hate is playing on my 4K C2 OLED, and then the textures are all like squishy.
Yeah.
Because they're small. Now you can do that with vectors, which means unlimited scaling.
Yeah.
And then
Nice.
they've also introduced real-time Boolean operations. So you can push objects into other objects, and you can also animate like graphics over time. And
Define your push objects into other objects thing.
Boolean operations would be like, here's your cylinder, and then I want to make a cut in this cylinder, so I have an invisible card, and then I push them together. So I haven't altered this geometry. Traditionally, Boolean would be done in something like Blender. So you would have to cut a hole in the geometry.
Boolean?
Because it's like add and subtract. So if I take these two objects and this one's a subtract, it would cut into this. Or if I were to have this as an additive object, it would increase,
mush.
and it would still be one object, but it's made up of multiple objects, and the geometry becomes one single like entity.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And normally you would do that operation in something like Blender or traditional, and then you would like finalize it, so that object would become solid, and then you'd have to retopo the whole thing, right? Because all of those curves and things are going to be destroyed. Now you can do that in real time, so I could animate the movement of objects through it. And then, huge thing, most of my game is entirely made of instances, right? It's got like one cube, and then everything's instance, so it's performative.
Yeah.
You can instance in the motion thing, and then simulate real-time nanite particles on your objects. And with Lumen as well, say the example I saw the other day was a donut. They had like a billion.
Donuts are surprisingly common.
Yeah. So obviously a cool example, but they had like a billion donuts being rendered in real time with shadows.
Sheesh.
And also real-time physics. So every single version is incredible. And this one, for me personally, has a lot of features that I'm going to touch. A lot of complaints with Unreal Engine for a long time is that you're basically modifying, like you're making a mod for a first-person shooter rather than making your own game, right? It's hard to do a different genre. And it's slowly getting better, and I think it's slowly becoming just the most insane engine.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, it's like character-driven focused
Yeah.
with the animation tools, but I think we're also going to see a lot more animators coming out of this too, right? The way that you can do rigging and animation things, and they've automated a lot of the process, and they've also made it a little bit more intuitive to do and simple. For me, learning 3D modeling is like almost impossible for characters, especially because I just can't get past weight painting. I don't know how to make a good rig. And then if you want to make changes to that rig, you would have to take it out of Unreal, right? And you'd have to re-export it and get your objects back and then like re-trigger everything. And maybe your animations in Unreal were all broken. But now it's a little bit more self-contained.
I suspect people might, especially people that have been in the scene for a while, because when you start looking into game development, there's a lot of like, use this variety of tools to accomplish your end goal, right?
Yeah, ZBrush,
very
Substance
common.
Painter,
Yeah.
engine, right?
I think people might underestimate how much needing one thing will lower the barrier of entry for people.
This is going to lower the barrier of entry for me, who is kind of already over the initial hump.
Yeah.
Like I know basically how all these programs work and which ones I'm supposed to be using. I'm still just garbage at them all. But now that efficacy of getting to a level, right? The barriers for Blender are like, okay, well, welcome to Blender. Learn 400 shortcuts, please. And then, of course, they released 3.8, and I had to relearn like all of them, or whatever the version is that they changed it. And I just learned them all.
Yeah,
And that's me because I'm a beginner, right?
I think there's also even just like the question of what game engine should I use is already difficult enough for people to.
What game do you want to make?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Well, then, I don't know. What do you play?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like lots of
It's
stuff.
like, well, maybe I want to.
Why are you making a game? What is like after that kind of lines of questioning is like, okay, well, why? Because you think it's fun or cool.
I think a lot of people, especially in like high school, might be doing it just to try something, to learn something, whatever. Yeah.
Just pick one.
Yeah.
Learn all three at the same time.
But then you have decision paralysis on the game engine, but then you also have decision paralysis on all the things that are associated.
It gets worse.
Yeah.
And it does not get better. And then what everybody forgets about is audio.
Yeah.
So do you go with Fmod or Wise? Pick one.
Fmod is
So the Fmod is like the audio plugin for all of these engines, and then the direct competitor is Wise.
Wise.
Wise. I don't know actually how it's supposed to be pronounced. Unfortunately,
I like Wise.
I like Wise. Goes along with Bing. But yeah, I know that Wise is more industry focused, and Fmod is way more approachable.
Okay. Yeah.
But they're still like, okay, well, yeah, you could do the audio inside your engine, but it's better to have another tool that modifies that. But now you're learning that. Like it took me a while to understand that. I even had to change my mindset when doing OST work, because now, like Celeste is probably the best example that uses Fmod. I think I've told you this before. I think this is accurate, but Celeste has every single piece of music playing simultaneously throughout the entire game. And then it just dynamically picks between them and fades between them when it's appropriate, right? Like, okay. And now I have to program that. So not only are you working inside Unity or your game engine, now you have to have the conceptual kind of understanding of this thing is happening. What process and what variable do I write that the game is going to modify that is then referred back to my audio system that then gets modified there? And there's two different layers of there, right? You have like on or off, or you can have floating point stuff. But then the graphs that modify the sound are inside Fmod are different. And then you can also have global variables inside Fmod to manage a bunch of stuff. And then there's bus tracks and reverb. And now I'm working with Steam Audio, which is like a ray tracing system for real time for projections. And then like I just wanted to make an RTS, and I want my 10 years back.
So which one do you said there's one that's more industry focused and one that's more approachable. Which one are you using for your non-hobby project?
I would use Fmod for both.
Okay.
Mostly just because I kind of like Fmod.
And that's the more approachable one already?
I think so. I think actually for my personal project, I will just try Wise. I think it's probably a good opportunity to learn it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, stick back to Fmod.
Yeah, cool.
I learned Substance Painter. Substance Painter is a lot easier to get your head around after you understand how it works. It's not like Photoshop. It does it for you, but you have to kind of make it do it for you.
And your personal project one, you said it's a 3D game? It
is a 3D game, which one of the reasons why I went with Unreal Engine. I did try to remake it in Godot. But
do you know which one it is?
I believe it's Godot.
I hear people that
I like saying Godot.
Work in it semi-professionally say it both ways.
I'm not sure. I mean, it might be like a bunch of different pronunciations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
But going. 3D engine. But it's quite static. The problem is that there's a lot of rotations, and there's a lot of vector math, and there's a lot of automatic generations and objects, and it can be a little bit complicated, especially trying to keep it performative.
Sorry, everyone just noticed the dead pixel.
Where? Is it dead pixel?
Right there.
Oh crap.
I think people have been spamming about it.
Oh no. Let me look.
Is it? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I mean, these cameras are getting on a bit.
Luckily, at least people only noticed it now, so it's not going to drive them nuts for the whole stream.
That one looks okay.
Yeah, I think you're good. Oh!
Oh no.
I can't even point it that one.
No, it's too far. I see it too.
Does my hand get in this screen?
Yeah.
Up there!
Yeah, okay. Well, all right.
Oh no. So it's not every camera, but two of them.
Whatever.
Oh, what was that? Someone threw these at us.
That's cool.
Get out of here.
They're not even sponsorship. Cube, 3D.
Why did that just happen? Okay.
Don't think about
it. Yeah, so why did you decide to go with, because you...
Blueprints. I like Unreal because of blueprints.
Okay.
So blueprints are phenomenal for a really approachable way of getting programming done. It's not quite as performative as programming in C++. Obviously, there's some overhead, but they're good. And you can also use them to move into C++ because you can write blueprints and each little node is basically just a C++ object. So you can dive into them and write a custom blueprint node.
Yeah. So that's a good answer and a good point, and I do also think blueprints are cool. But what I really meant was, why did you decide to do 3D for this game? Because the way that you've described it to me...
Because it needs to be.
So why?
Because of the way that the space is represented. So I wanted it to feel claustrophobic.
Oh, okay.
And the limiting space factor also had to be in 3D. So you've seen the Windows 95 screensaver with the pipes, right?
Yes. Love it.
So it's
always loved it.
But as a game.
Yeah.
And
like a resource management?
It's a resource management game. So you're inside a cube.
Yeah.
Right? And each of the walls are kind of like your factories or whatever you want to think about it, however you want to abstract it away. This one makes this number go up. This one makes a different number go up. And each of them have different requirements. And you have to connect them together with wires, basically, like pipes. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And so if you can think about laying pipes in 3D to each of the walls, and I think there's something like 400 individual node points that are available for me to use, at least. Maybe not to the player. That's a little bit ridiculous. So now we've got 400 nodes, 400 nodes, 400 nodes, and now all of the wires have to connect to each other. Like the difficulty is in managing those connections and figuring out where they go and like even just how to route them and how to keep them organized. Like, I don't know if you've ever played Factorio or something like that, but keeping the belts all pretty and like flowing and organized is kind of like a fun way to play Factorio. Or you can do spaghetti. And the resource in this game is the walls.
Yeah, so like the amount of space you have on the walls, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I guess you'll like tech up over time and whatnot.
Yes, exactly. But to replace something, you have to destroy it.
Which might at least temporarily ruin economy, I'm assuming?
It's actually like yourself. So like, so you die. Because you're the computer that the outside walls are powering. And so it can cause cascading failures. So you delete one little module, and if you didn't lay out your wires, so all the wires go away, right? And now you have to trace back and find it, and you have like 30, 40 seconds or something like that to get the new module and the wires plugged back in. Or like, yeah, I don't know, you run out of power and die.
Critical failure. Blue screen.
And I just added this new system called abstraction, where you can add in another cube next to it and have resources that pass through the walls. Right? And I spent like 3 hours working on this dolly zoom thing where the cube comes into your view, which is normally an isometric, right? And then it pulls out into orthogonal, right? And then you can move around and pick your next cube, and then you zoom back in, right? And so now not only are you managing with the wires that are going the cube, you're now managing cubes on top of cubes, right? So think my elevator pitch is like Factorio inside a 4D hypercube.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so it's Factorio in 3D space, but if you fuck up the wires, you die. Sorry. I always forget. I don't even think it's playing right now. Whatever.
It's fine. Okay. There's a fun sort of offshoot tangent. Do you want to explain how the swear button works? Because you just said I don't think it's playing right now, and I think people might not necessarily understand what that means.
Oh, yeah. So swear button is a track inside Reaper. And it has a tone that is like the CA400 or whatever it is. That is the swear noise. And then the swear button here actually just solos that track, which mutes all of us. Because if I were to put a swear bleep over just my mic here, Luke's mic would pick it up anyway, right? So I have to kill all of the mics simultaneously, right? So that's a pretty quick and easy way to do that. If you push it, you still have to push the button. Sorry.
I'm trying to go through merch messages while we're talking about this.
Oh,
a
God.
significant amount of merch messages are just ooh,
Worth it. It's worth the
which is
$10.
making my job a lot easier right now. So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
What else can we talk about?
I don't know.
What's going on?
You mentioned something about trying Godot.
Oh yeah, I've been doing
Can't just
that.
talk GameDev all the time. I have a lot of thoughts. They will get me canceled.
I mean, we're just tangenting onto more game dev.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'm just
whatever.
trying to keep the conversation. I'm new at this, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it just as like a learning thing. Like
good.
I feel like you're going on a direction of you might actually like do something with this.
I've made like 15 games. Sorry, I have failed at making 15 games.
Yeah, so I'm there.
Right?
There. That's a good way of saying it. I'm planning on failing on making a.
You will
game.
fail at making a lot of games. And
Yeah.
the more games you fail at making, this goes for you guys out there too. The more times you fail, the more times you've done a thing at all.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. So, like, but like, I'm not even necessarily. The plan isn't even necessarily to ever succeed.
Yeah.
I'm just having fun poking around, seeing how
I was
things
having
work.
fun initially,
Yeah.
and then I'm kind of like, wow, like I got past minimum viable product.
Okay.
And I got to play it for like the 20 seconds that you could. I'm like, that was fun.
Did you die? Did your robot die?
No, I mostly just die because I'm testing to make sure it triggers properly.
Right. That makes
Right?
that's
And
fair.
at what point of the chain, you delete the wrong wire, you die. You delete the end point that's feeding another thing, you die. You delete the middle point, you die. Right? You need to keep that. And so like redundant systems, and I don't know, it's going to be ridiculous. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm still just working on Clear Code's. Clear Code has this tutorial on YouTube that's 11 and a half hours long, and then you realize that there's like a 3-hour extension to it. And it's like,
Part
my
2.
goodness.
I sent that to a friend recently. He wants to get into game dev.
It's fantastic. It's
Yeah.
really, really good.
He
So
even
I'm
knows
still
what he
just-
wants to make.
That's nice.
And he hasn't changed what he wants to make in a couple of years now.
I change what I want to make essentially every time I sit down and work on it. But
Yeah.
I'm completely okay with that right now because
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
just like blow up
That's
everything
good.
I've done. And
I want to learn how to make this system. Right?
Yeah. It's like, what if I did these things? Would that work? And then I smash it together. And I'm like, no, or yes,
And
or
crafting.
whatever else. Yeah.
Here's some advice. Don't do anything with an inventory system.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Ever.
Yeah, my current plan is to do so. But I mean, it'll probably change by next
You
time.
might
so
actually know how to handle that probably better than
I
most
don't
people.
know. I don't know.
Do not make an RPG. I will shoot you.
That is 100% the current plan. My current
What?
plan.
You suck.
So the game the game that I currently want to make the game that I currently want to make I would not be able to release because there's too much like it entirely leans on another IP.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to remake in 2D a like old school RPG version of the starting town for Wood Elves in EverQuest 1 called Kelethin.
Okay.
Because that was like
Let him cook.
That was the first MMO that I played. I remember how the city looked. I'm not even gonna. You can go back and play it. There's like 1999 Scape or something like that.
2007 Scape?
2007 Scape. Haha. Why did I say 99?
I don't know.
No idea.
OG.
Wait, no, that's RuneScape. No. Project 99 is EverQuest.
Oh, okay.
I think it's called Project 99.
I thought it was Project. Okay.
Project 99. Yeah, Project 1999 Classic EverQuest. 2007 Scape is RuneScape.
That's what I thought you meant.
I'm talking about EverQuest.
Okay.
So I played both of those games when I was a wee one. But yeah, I'm just like my theory with that is I can just make that like starting area with, you know, the Crushbone orcs. I don't know why I remember this. I didn't play Project 99. I just remember this from when I was like
Burrowed
10.
in there, right?
Yeah. So I can make the orcs. I can make that area. I can make the skeletons outside the town. I can make the little bee things that you fight. I can make the town. I can do all this other kind of stuff. And by doing that, it gives me a fairly defined scope. And that's why I wanted to do that. I don't plan to make it a whole game, just the starting area.
Scope
I know
is-
the enemies. I know the areas. I don't have to think about a map anymore. I don't have to think about the music anymore. I don't have to think about the names of things anymore. I just build the things and try to make them work.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to fail in 87 different ways. And then I can't release it anyways. So it's like a project that is intentionally never going to work because I could never release it because it's based on someone else's game.
I think another thing that I ran into a lot when I was starting to, not even beyond scope, right? It was like, what system do I fail at?
Right.
So here's a concept for a game that's nice and simple. How fast can I get to where I can't do it anymore? I really like RTS, and I really like, obviously, resource management games. And I want to go home and I want to relax. So I'm not going to be doing anything that's super high energy, and I don't necessarily like the external pressure of like, hey, do this thing or you die, because I'm an antagonist. Like my game, you're your own antagonist. It's your fault.
Yeah.
You suck. You're your worst enemy.
So you're attempting to be
And so
better.
I wanted to move into like RTS style, that, town management, just for fun and because I like them and it's entertaining to work on. And then I was like, oh, it's Friday. All right, so now I just got to make the little dudes like walk around each other and like get past objects that I build. And then I learned what A-star pathfinding was. And I thought I'd have that done in like an afternoon. And then I discovered that people write PhD theses on pathfinding algorithms.
Every once in a while, I like watching visualizations of algorithms on YouTube because I find it fun. And pathfinding ones are like super interesting.
I did about a week of that before I went, nope.
Yeah.
Okay, so this entire genre is off the checklist, right? So you're basically building like a model of like, okay, well, I can't do this. For me, I can't do art. Like I can't do 3D art very well.
Okay.
Right? I'm not super great at 2D art besides, I don't know, marker stippling stuff. Can't really make a game out of that. So now I need a concept.
People have made games out of a lot of...
I was going to do a game jam with one I made out of clay, which would have been fun.
Yeah.
Stop motion clay.
Yeah.
Right? So you're kind of breaking down this
what
level
things
of
am I
difficulty.
good at / enjoy
Yeah, but
/
you don't
want
even
to
know
do?
what you can't do.
Totally.
You
So
have to
try
and
stuff.
it's weird, and it comes out of nowhere, and there are things that you don't expect, like text layout and like UX design. And I'm
I hate that.
I'm not very good at this.
Yeah.
I can't get it from where I see it in my brain to where it looks pretty, or right. And then you're going to look at your project, and it's always going to be this like mark on it. I don't know.
I've always enjoyed projectiles. Like I made in high school we had a course that my absolutely fantastic teacher, who's a principal at a different school now, but Mr. Traddle, he made a course for the people in like effectively my grade because he could tell we were all very interested in this, and it was called 3D game programming. And as far as I can tell, he like went to BCIT over the summer and like learned some stuff and turned it into a high school course for us, which is just so sick. And the game that I made for that was I pulled a Battle State Games making Tarkov and just downloaded some assets instead of making them myself because some people were more interested in like making the 3D models, and I was like, I suck at this.
You do well on Steam in current year.
Yeah.
Asset flips are a bit of a thing.
I've noticed that.
On the same side of the coin, nobody cares if you make your own assets either.
Yeah, so I was your main character in my game was a snowman.
Okay.
And you shot basketballs out of your face at ninjas.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
So I was just like, whatever. It's like the easiest to find models I could find. And my whole point was effectively, I shouldn't have done this. I was like trying to make a point, like, I don't like making 3D models because I was a dummy and just, I guess, wanted a lower grade. I don't know. It's a stupid kid. But I like wanted to focus on the mechanics of the game. So I focused on the like projectile physics of this basketball, basically. So it could like bounce and then off of the varied terrain and then hit the ninjas in different ways and stuff. I don't know. I think I still have the code somewhere, but like,
Just gives me nightmares about collision detection.
Yeah, but I like that.
I know.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's kind of like where you're like, that's now your game.
I'm
your
literally
game,
doing that stuff now in Godot. I'm stuck on collision detection because I'm enjoying it. It's been a fun process.
And like, what is your
and what
collision
happens after?
What is your collision update rate?
Yes.
And is it decoupled from the frame rate?
Yes. It is.
Good answer. Okay, good.
But that is it is not.
Skyrim.
It's not. If I remember correctly, Godot does. Godot has built-in ways.
Godot doesn't let you do it the wrong way.
They do let you.
Okay.
But they throw warnings.
Good.
You can ignore them. It'll compile with those warnings, and you can play the game, but it will be coupled to the frame rate. But it makes it really easy because when it throws one of those warnings, it'll Modern like IDEs are so fascinating to me because back when I was doing programming heavily, there was no like GitHub and all the IDEs like sucked and everything was terrible. And now everything's like so helpful and nice.
Yeah.
But it'll tell you, exactly where the problem is and link the documentation that will help you solve it. So like I ran into this problem.
Honestly, yeah.
Clear Code ended up explaining it like seconds after I dove through it, which was fine. But
that's good.
I dove through the problem because I was like, this is dumb, because I was watching the Clear Code video and I could see the thing moving across his screen and I could see it moving across my screen. I was like, these are not at the same rate. Something is wrong. I think it's tied to frame rate. This is terrifying. I have to fix this. And then he ends up explaining how to fix it in his video. It's actually super, super easy. There's stuff built into Godot to help you fix timing, which is great.
It's really nice. It's super easy to mess up in Unreal Engine because like event tick is right there. You can just drag off of it, but I want my game to run at 140, 200 FPS. I can't be searching through arrays every like 1 millisecond. I don't think so. It's just unperformative, right?
It's also just like if you aim to make a game super performant, the main benefit in my mind is that it can be not performant and still playable. If you can play it on something that's junk and it's still a playable game. To me, most games 240 FPS. I'm too old to be FPS competitive. Like, it's not going to make a difference for me.
Yeah, but that's one of my. I have two core tenets for this: support any screen resolution in any aspect ratio, and have it run at high refresh rate. I'm struggling because the game view is 1-to-1.
Okay.
Because it's cube. You're inside a cube.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's not super hard to render. It's limited, right?
Yeah.
Where do you put the UI when you're on a super ultra wide? Like I've got a super ultra wide on my desk there, and so I'm playing on this. How do I make use of like 2 feet of black bars? Yeah.
I feel like...
So there's like those kinds of problems too, right?
I feel like my solution, because this is stuff I don't like working on, so I feel like my solution would just be like stretch graphic of some kind.
Well, I just have them here, but then they're tabbed. And it's
I mean like just, have the UI be tucked in, and then so you don't have black bars, just like make it take some like graphic that's like the inside of a computer system to some degree, and then just stretch until the end. Like whatever.
Cool. That's actually a great idea.
I don't know if it's a great idea, but that's the type of thing that I would do, because I'm just like, I don't want to deal with this problem. Go away.
But there's a lot of stuff in the UI that's tied to tick, or that's tied to updates that need to happen constantly, because you delete something, the propagation might take a couple seconds, right? And the bricks themselves are constantly checking to make sure that they're still alive. Basically, they have their requirements met, right? And so if I was doing that 200 times a second, it would be insane. So, like 1 every 10th of a second, it's totally fine.
Yeah. Let's try to power through some merch messages and then bring this thing to an end. I've got one for you, which is about what we're currently talking about. So we're really not going that far off. But Dan, isn't your game basically an allegory for self-improvement? You have to leave your comfort zone in order to advance.
Yes, it is, and I've built it on the kind of the mindset is like shelves. So, I've climbed up to this level. I'm comfortable here. Everything's fine. I mean, the game's called a copacetic, right? So it's cool. You're cool, you're fine. But you can't go anywhere. Like you can't get to the next level, you can't get the next research, you can't expand at all. And you have to do something scary. I mean, you can prepare for it. That's a nice thing about it. There's no time pressure. You can sit there for years. You turn the game off, you can walk away forever, and you're not going to have a problem. But you're not going anywhere until you start destroying things so that they can be built back better. It's like life. It's like poetry. They rhyme.
Ah, very nice. I've got another one for probably you. Hey, Dan and Luke. Whatever. I've been using Tinkercad for all my 3D print modeling. Really want to start using a more in-depth CAD software. What do you use/recommend? That's entirely on you.
I use SolidWorks, which is not necessarily for everyone. There's loads of them. I'm not a huge fan of, I can't even remember what the other one is now, the Autodesk product, Fusion 360, thank you. Mostly because what they've been doing to like creators and people that use it. They used to have a discounted maker tier. Like if you didn't really make money with it, you could learn it. And then they did a Tarkov where they just got rid of that. And now you have to pay a subscription and everything's like cloud-based. And it's really expensive. Not that SolidWorks any better. They're extremely expensive. But there's lots of like free parametric stuff. I'd say that SolidWorks is attainable to people if you really want to learn it. I don't know.
I've heard a lot of people talking about SolidWorks lately.
Yeah, get on SolidWorks. SolidWorks will teach you a lot of transferable skills. But, you know, parametric is the skill. I'm really good at parametric modeling, not like some of the designers we have in CW, but I understand parametric model. I don't understand Blender. Like I've been modeling since high school, right? But I can make cubes nice. I can't make people.
Right, makes sense.
There's loads of free ones and there's loads of good ones. Rhino is probably one to look at. But yeah, SolidWorks.